So everybody thinks that you should have your life put together, and what we don't realize is that everybody else's life is a complete shamble as well, just like you. And this is I wanted to talk about that because I'm always, you probably have seen me around or whatnot on, various different social stuff, right? So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Dave Maslach. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. So I actually created this sharing economy editing platform. That's what reciprocity is. The E is written with a 3, and then I had to get the word out. So I started, I went on to YouTube. Somebody said you should do YouTube videos, so I started doing that. Then, I looked, and you got to do anyways. I'm all over the place, and it's kind of evolved to you listening to my personal journey, I guess. And part of the personal journey is realizing, or what I like to tell about who I am, and really get into some of these things and my thoughts and stuff. So it's a challenge to do a lot of the things that we expect for people to do, right? So you expect this business professor, me, to be, I'll have my life put together and everything is that is all working, and I'm supposed to be this sort of all-knowing guru about efficiency and how to make money, and I'm supposed to lead and teach and do all these kind of things, and my specialty is innovation and entrepreneurship, more on the innovation side, and you expect me to be like this innovator and all this kind of stuff, and I'm going to tell you this right now, is I ain't. I mean, I'm the farthest from that, and I feel like I'm really scattered, and I feel I've got so many different things that I can't do, and I tend to dwell on those things. You could probably see that I try to, part of this is me convincing myself that I got to focus on the positive and all those kind of things, which I try to do on a daily basis, and I try to get myself into a state of flow every day. But then I look at what I've done and what I've accomplished, or like the day to day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't, it doesn't seem like it comes together, right? Like it seems like I'm doing a piss poor job at parenting, a piss poor job at, professoring, that all of these things I just don't necessarily measure up, and I'm kind of pulling at all sides and all angles. And then you feel like you're not quite there, right? Like you are not measuring to what the expectation is. And I don't know why that is. I know in the profession of being a professor, it's very much like, unless you're in this field, you don't understand it. How it's measured. I would say it's at least, if not more, competitive than being at like top law firms, in the country. And the reason is because people measure your performance, and that's the only thing that you're quantified on. And it's not even your performance. It's like, are you actually working and doing things? It's like, okay, did this thing that you worked on for 8 years or whatever, X number of years, did this thing actually have an outcome to it? Did it have a successful outcome? And in research, it's very often the case. The success rate at top journals is 5% or less. So you're being measured on this like bizarro standard on performing, and not looking at whether you're actually executing on things. So it's a really weird thing, and so I think that's where a lot of stress and anxiety comes from. like actually going through the motions of doing these things, and then as well as balancing all of these kind of things, balancing life. So my wife and I, we're both professionals, we both work, and the challenge is, and we get help. That's the thing, that's the funny thing, we still get help with somebody helping out with cleaning the house, somebody helping out with picking up kids, but here's the thing, like, those things fall apart like all the time. Like, anybody that's done this, it's not like, oh my gosh, you just get somebody to help and it all works. No, that does not happen at all. It might work for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. And then, somebody wants to go on vacation or whatever, all those kind of things. And I'm not complaining about it. This is like, first world problems and all those kind of things. But I just wanted to sort of point out with the competing demands and competing stresses that we think that all of us sort of have it all together, and it looks like you're all put together and everything is like, oh, I wish that I could be like them. But one thing that I want you to take away from this whole reciprocity project, and me being crazy open with all these things, like crazy public, is to realize that, man, everybody is a giant mess. And if everybody else is a giant mess, and they're all screwed up, then why am I feeling this way, right? Like, why am I going through this? Why is this even an issue in my life? I should be just okay with that. And so that's where I want you to get at, is realizing, crap, I'm a giant mess, I'm insecure, I'm my shirt is untucked all the time, I'm all rumply, I've got, when the kids are small, I have kid barf on me, which they do a lot, or kid poop on me, and I'm okay with that, and I know it's like, I don't quite have it, and I don't have it quite together, and even if you don't have to be okay with it, that's not what I'm saying, right? Like, I don't think that is like, I don't think you'll ever be okay with these things, but just know that you're one of many, of trying to get it on, get through it, and that's the only thing. Is just to keep going, get through it. Don't worry about your performance. I think the performance comes with, like, just plugging along. That's it. I think I've said it many times in this podcast. The idea of performance is hogwash. I think you can improve in certain ways when you're being trained deliberately in certain ways. But that doesn't mean it's any less harder. It doesn't mean that you're not working any less or any more than anybody else. So, that's the misnomer with performance, right? Like, think about this. I've been swimming a little bit, and I've got a coach, and when I was flailing along at the beginning, and so I started doing master swimming about 6 months ago. When I was flailing along at the beginning, I was still working I was working hard and feeling like I was drowning, but my strokes weren't that good, and now my strokes are better, and I'm probably moving more efficiently through the water. I still feel like I'm drowning, and I still feel like I'm like, I don't know it, like, this is not working. None of that stuff, in fact, it probably even feels worse, because now I've got this expectation of performing, like actually having to do these things. But, all of that does not change. So just know that you're in good company. And I hope that feels better. Just knowing that you're in good company, knowing that, even that somebody that is supposed to have their shit together, right? Like, just know that we're all messed up anyways. But the only thing that you can do, and I think this is like what I've learned, is pick up the torch anyways, and carry it forward. You could think of like a battlefield way long time ago, right? Like everybody was a giant mess, and it wasn't pretty in any sort of respects. But somebody's got to pick up that torch and move from, the bomb hole to the next bomb hole, or foxhole to the next foxhole, and you just do that gradually, slowly, over time, and you take your time, and you might pop out of that foxhole, and you get shot at, but you get back in and go to the next one. And you just constantly do that, and you keep just like plugging along, and it really does not have to be pretty, and there's no magic to it. When you're done, you'll look back and you're like, man, that's a mess. This thing that I have, it's a mess. And I don't believe in it. I don't trust it. But it's a mess, but it's my mess. And you just got to keep, like, taking that step forward, going into the unknown, pushing forward, and being okay with that. I think that is an important thing. So, yes, I'm going to go back to my self-loathing and insecurity and all that kind of stuff, but hopefully somebody else gets something out of this and know that they are in good hands with many other people, and to give yourself a little bit of grace, I guess, and just keep plugging along. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to enjoy it. Keep plugging along. That's it. All right, take care. And have a wonderful day. Leave me some comments. I appreciate that. So other people get to see this or view these podcasteries. All right, take care. Bye.